am not a politician. Okay, girlfriend, when you signed your name to that dotted line, you became a politician. Ugh. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Okay, let me think this through. I can do this. When I became a realtor, it was to prove that realtors are good, honest, caring people. I got this. Well, can you make decisions that help or hurt 126,000 people? I can, and I do. I'm a leader. Okay, admittedly, I'm a lousy manager. I do not do minutia well. Police and fire union negotiations, potholes in roads, parks and recs maintenance, angry residents, raising taxes. Oh yeah, that is not the fun part of the job. Going to a 108-year-old resident's birthday party, helping celebrate a 78-year wedding anniversary. Yeah, that was real impressive because I barely made it 10 years. And I only tried it once. Those are definitely the fun parts of the job. There are highlights of being a politician, but there are difficult parts. Coral Springs, as in most cities, has to have a vision, and you have to have a plan. We operate a $212 million budget to run our 25 square miles here in the city of Coral Springs. We have a very, very diverse population that is still leaning towards the youth and the young. But I'm a boomer, and many of us are aging in place here in the city. So you have to accommodate those people's needs as well. But for the longest time, we've been geared just to kids. It's all about the sports, and it's all about the teams, because we always have been a young demographic. But now more of us are aging in place. So there has to be a balance for the youth and for the seniors. But you still have to have a vision. Our vision, as is going to be the vision for most cities, you have to have revenue in order to survive. Most people don't realize that our state legislature in the last 10 years has passed 24 bills reducing revenues to cities. Makes it tougher and tougher to operate. They're getting ready to pass Amendment 1. They're going to give you another $25,000 off of your taxes for homestead. Bad move. That is not a tax break. That is a tax shift. In other words, that'll take $3.2 million out of the city's operating budget. And when they do that, what's the city going to do? They're going to raise your taxes. And you don't want that. So do not vote yes for Amendment 1, please. I am not allowed to tell you what to do. I'm only allowed to advocate. So I'm advocating that voting for Amendment 1 is not a good thing. So let's talk about our vision and where the city's going to go and how we're going to repurpose ourselves so that we can generate more revenue and more income. The downtown, which is the corner of Sample and University, is going to be the vibrancy of the city, and that's where everything's going to start. We started with the development of the City Hall. Y'all familiar with the Financial Plaza that's on the southwest corner, the big, tall, beige building? Early first quarter of next year, it's going to implode. That's going to be fun to watch. For years, residents have been asking, why don't we have a promenade? Why don't we have a great gathering place? And the walk was the beginning of that. The walk was the idea to make that the gathering place. Well, now we're going to have our own promenade. There's going to be 150 hotel rooms, 400 apartments, lots of retail, lots of shops and businesses, and with any luck, we'll also move the museum down there as well. The museum's currently located off of Coral Springs Drive, and most people don't even know it's there. We'd like to get it into the downtown. One of the things that's interesting is that Financial Plaza, Sheldon, who bought the building, said, I never would have made the investment into the city if the city hadn't made their investment first. And that investment is in the new City Hall. The old City Hall was decrepit. We had 74 pages of our own code violations against us. At some point, we stopped throwing good money after bad. We had a roof caving in, the place was infested with rats, the elevator was condemned, when do you stop making repairs? That plaza will bring new vibrancy and life to the city of Coral Springs. Then you have the Publix Plaza, which everybody remembers when Publix was there. They put it up for sale. A couple people brought bids to the city. The city was underwhelmed. Publix took it back off the market, and they are, from what I understand, they're considering a greenwise market. Please do not quote me, that is not in writing. On the old City Hall site and the northwest corner, in a perfect world, we'll take the old City Hall and we'll take that parcel, which is all individual condo owners as businesses, and culvert the canal and make that a huge corporate campus in a perfect world. In the meantime, we have a big green construction fence around the old City Hall property, and that's not pretty. So we are going to make a pop-up park. You have to Google pop-up parks. They're so cool. There's going to be 10 by 10 concrete walls, all of them painted by individual artists. Very, very pretty, very, very attractive, much nicer to look, until we get the corporate park, as we call it, together. So in my 4 years, almost 4 years, as a city commissioner, it hasn't been an easy or perfect journey. But my 33 years as a realtor hasn't been easy or perfect. But that's the point. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Give it your best to make it your best ride ever. Mr. Contest Master.
Get it started. Our first contestant, Daniel Prudhomme. Daniel Prudhomme.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and especially Joy, what a great job, and expected nothing less of you. Joy is a power broker in Toastmasters and throughout the community, and I'm not just basing that on the fact that you're a city commissioner, but what a compliment that a city commissioner would find the time on a Saturday morning, crack of dawn, to come out and touch base with people that you used to hang out with all the time. Joy came up here and said, I'm not a politician. She ended it with, give it your best to make it the best ride ever. A great start, a great finish. Most of the evaluation is going to come in the meat that was provided in between. Joy mentioned angry residents. Who wants to deal with angry residents? Versus a 108-year-old birthday party. I'm not so sure I want that either. But I'd rather roll with that than angry residents. You mentioned you have to have revenue. As a politician, as a leader, you got to mention these hard facts. We need revenue. You can't just expect that you're going to have police and fire and ambulance and nice flowers on the median strip when you're going through the community without money. Every single thing in this community takes money. And if you were to look around at all the things that this community has and think to yourself, what could we have for $0? You'd be living in a dust bowl, an absolute dust bowl. You mentioned repurposing ourselves. Another great example of how you drive home these points that Joy as a leader has to point out. We need to repurpose ourselves. We need to keep ourselves modern. We need to keep ourselves relevant, because if we don't, Coral Springs is going to fall by the wayside. City vision and plan. Perfect. I love the detail. I love the inside information. We can leave here and say, that building at Samplin University is coming down. How do you know? The city commissioner mentioned it in a meeting. What better source? The primary source, that's right. Great body language. When you come up here, the whole time I've known you, when you come up here, you have a great smile. A lot of people, me included, will come up here and that smile seems to drift away, drift away. There's your smile. But with Joy, and also another good example is Daryl Pope. Remember him?
Yeah.
He had a smile out to here. And he even said, sometimes people don't trust me. They say, you smile too much. I hung on every word. The only feedback that I would have is when you mention very, very. My mother always said to me, I don't need very, very, I understand one very. It would be a little bit of a turn off. That's the only feedback that I have. And a couple ums, a couple lip smacks, but no big deal. Congratulations, always a great job.
Mr. Timer, we need a minute on the evaluation contestant number 2, Garfield Pitter.
Good morning, fellow Toastmaster, especially Commissioner Joy, who took the time out to do such an awesome job today. I am not a politician. That's the famous saying of everybody who runs for elections as an office. I heard Donald Trump say yesterday, President Trump said, I'm not a politician. But we all are politicians. And I like Joy's opening because it gave us an insight into what she was going to talk about. She made it clear that she was a politician by saying she was not a politician. That was a good opener. Her speech was very deliberate in that she talked about what she wanted to talk about. But I would have hoped that she would have tell us what she wanted to share with us first, instead of just sharing it with us. Because I was like, okay, what's next? We have City Hall. Which was pretty good. I like that idea. But if you open up by saying, okay, I'm City Council member, and I'm going to share with you the plans for the city, and when I'm done sharing the plan for the city with you, I hope you'll continue living in Coral Springs, because we have a future for you. We think about you. You're getting old, thank you. So we are planning for you in our next phase of development, which will be telling us what you wanted to tell us, and let us expect what you are going to deliver to us. You started a little, Joyce started a little slow, but you know, like all speakers, you have to take a time to control those butterflies in the stomach before you get to open up those big stands that she did at the end, which is, I've always tried to start off as open as possible. Never worked for me, but I see you ended really well. The speech, I thought, was wonderful. She had good eye contact. She was very lively. She was very inviting, very warm. And that is one of the trademark of a good speaker. I look forward to hearing from you. Again, hopefully you will return and visit us. Commissioner Joy, thank you for coming in.
Devin Dickerson. Devin Dickerson.
Should have probably read my notes, but I had my quick little gloss over. Well, good morning, fellow Toastmasters, DTMs, welcome guests, and our test speaker, Joy. Pleasure to meet you. I had to say that your body language and your hand movements and gestures immediately brought us in. You came up to the stage and immediately I had no choice but to look at everything you were saying, and I was brought in. My favorite one was Publix Took It Back. But I had to say, you have very lofty goals, an honest politician and a realtor. Yeah. I've never heard of one, you're going to try to be both. You're extremely vibrant, very, very energetic, very engaging. Once again, your hand movements are beautiful, wonderfully placed, very focused. It made politics sound like it was something that we should all be a part of, and it made it seem so simplistic. What I do have to say, though, your pace was a bit fast. I was trying to figure out where to go, and everything was kind of ebbing and flowing, and it was going and it was going. And I had some jokes thrown in there, but we didn't have time to take it in. So I would recommend some pauses. What I have to say is your stage presence, as great as your hand motions are, just move with us. And continue to draw us in and bring us in over here. Continue to bring us in and draw us in over this way. I'm still not quite sure what the journey of the politician was. There were so many things that were thrown in there. I heard some amendments, so where you stood on some things. I heard some of the things that are going on in the city. I heard some of the things that were wrong when you took office. But I'm not quite sure where your journey was or how it felt in terms of you. I couldn't quite tell if we were in the midst of a pitch or if we were figuring out what it was like to become the politician from when you were a Toastmaster. I would have liked to seen some more order and some flow in how it went. But I wasn't quite sure if that was the point, that it was so many things to do at politics, that it was here, 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 and all in the moments you had to be calm and composed. But overall, it was a great speech, and you were a fantastic speaker, and I hope to hear from you at another point. Mr. Contest Chair.
Our fourth contestant has a cold, so I'm not supposed to shake his hand. That's not because
Please don't count down for that.
But he is here.
He showed up.
Chris Pokey, speaker number 4.
Mr. Contest Master, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially Joy. Did you enjoy her speech this morning?
Yes.
I certainly did. Joy, I'm probably the only evaluator that has the opportunity to have seen you when you first started speaking and invested your time and effort in speaking to what you presented today. And I have to tell you, for all of us Toastmasters, she is the embodiment of what Toastmasters can do for any of us. She came up here and she delivered a message, both personal and professional, that was memorable. And she did it with everything that we teach ourselves to do. The only thing that I can criticize is you, David. You could have picked a better test speaker where we had more to talk about improvements. But if you look at what she did, she brought it all together. Look at her right now. She's smiling. That is perfect. You have to smile when you're in front of an audience, especially if you're a politician. She had great body language and great vocal variety. She lowered her voice when appropriate. She raised her voice in the beginning. She talked about bringing things together. All of her movements and her language were purposeful. Would you agree?
Yes.
So everything you did was very good. Is there anything to talk about for improvements? I really had to look hard. And before I talk about any areas of improvement, I'm going to tell you one thing. If you ever listen to a good speaker, somebody that has an important message that they want to deliver, don't worry about the evaluations and what can be improved. They can use as many ahs, ers, ums, put their hands together, whatever. Doesn't matter. So that's an important thing, because on your speech, did you do a couple of things that I noticed? Yes. You have a beautiful gold necklace. Got out of place, so you had to put it back. Minor. Okay. The second thing that I noticed was, we all do it, even politicians and experienced speakers. You brought your hands back here to a comfortable position from time to time. I noticed one ah. So yes, even good speakers have an ah. Did anybody notice it besides me?
No.
And you had one lip, you did, okay, Mark said it. And you had one lip smack, which is my personal favorite. I really couldn't evaluate too many things that weren't good about your speech. It was fabulous. Please come back and join us from time to time. I know you have a busy schedule, Mr. Contest Master.